my princess dress on, so I hope you have a good cocktail to go with this, because seriously, we're talking RuPaul's Drag Race UK. Oh hey, hi, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 1, Episode 1. Finally, it's here. We've been talking about it. There's been threats. I know I've been threatened. I just don't understand why. But we have been waiting a long time, and here it finally is. RuPaul's Drag Race UK. And all I have to say is, Jorge, drink me. What is this? It's a beer. For Britain? Oh, all right. Okay, all right. I'll say it differently. Oh, Jorge, a beer. How apropos from my regal, well, it's a beer. Who's going to say no to a beer? I certainly won't. Ooh. Oh, beery. But I think I might need a straw for later because I don't want to mess up my lippy. Let me just... No, it's fine. Okay, so let's get to it. I just have to say, for the first episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, no offense, but it left me wanting. I don't know why. The pace, maybe I put too much on it. Maybe my hopes and dreams were more than the show was capable of delivering. I don't know, but it just seemed to be kind of slow. The mini challenge, the main run, all of it just... Now, one of my theories onto why this was maybe a slow ease into the British Drag Race is just so we could get to familiarize ourselves with some of these accents. Sweet Marie and the Ships at Sea, but bag of chips should be literally underscored the whole time. We need subtext on most of what Bag is saying because even I don't understand it. And I've been to Britain quite a few times, I'm just saying. That said, I think this was also our opportunity to get to know the queens because, I mean, seriously, not only is it a new accent, it's a whole new world of drag. And one of the things that I was really surprised at is when it was the Meet the Queens video that came out, how many people were judging their looks? I felt bad. Now, that said, did I judge a couple of looks? Well, yes, because there's rough looks and then there's rough looks. And there were a couple of rough looks. I'm not going to judge a rough look because clearly somebody's been pulled backwards through a fence once or twice or so. I'm just saying. So that said, we got right down to it. First through the workroom doors was Bag of Chips. And can I just say, she had me at daddy's sauce. Mostly because that was my drag queen name in high school. Just saying. Now, I know on the socials that there was a huge fallout after her introduction to the world for some of her political opinions, and she'd written an article or two taking a stance that isn't necessarily always LGBTQ friendly or what have you. And I just have to say, I don't care. There's something about Bagga that says, hook her with a heart of gold or something of that ilk. She seems like she's got a touch of the Bianca Del Rio. Like, she's a little hard-edged up front, but she might give you a waist cincher as long as she's not too threatened by your performance in the contest. I'm just saying. Here's to you, Bag. It's serious. Where's my straw? Oh, thank you. Next through the doors was Blue Hydrangea, and she looked gorgeous in her little spring fantasy realness. But I do have to say this. I hated that she had the corset to that outfit on underneath that dress. That she dressed, the way it just made her look lumpy and weird. And clearly, she's not lumpy. I was very impressed when she said on camera in front of the world that she was the best queen from Northern Ireland. What I wasn't impressed with was her backpedaling right away. I don't know. I think it's okay for you to think you're the best. It doesn't mean it's true. I think it's okay for you to think it. Come on, Blue. Don't be lumpy. I mean, it's not like any of those other queens made it to RuPaul's Drag Race Season 1. Just saying. Something else I didn't understand was that whole Nori thing that she and Bagga started doing. I mean, I think it must be a catchphrase for one of those British shows that's British. But either way, I didn't get it. But I don't think I was meant to. Third through the workroom doors was Davina DeCampo, a.k.a. DDC. And I just have to say, I was a little shocked at how young she is out of drag. I mean, I'm not sure that she's painting to look older, but she certainly is a more mature woman when she's all dolled up, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't want to offend anybody, but even Blue called her grandmummy, but I assume that Blue probably calls everybody grandmummy, poor thing, just saying. Now, I'd love me some DDC, but I have to say, her Willam-esque resume, la 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 la, and that litany of talents that she has while doing the splits, it just seemed, yes, if you can do stuff like that, you should be proud of it and tell people that you can, but I don't know, it can come off as bragging awful easy is all I'm saying. And one thing about Davina De Campo that she's got against her is she is on TV in Britain. She is kind of a big deal on a tiny island. And that said, a lot of these queens are watching her. They're going to want her to trip up. They're going to wait for her to make a mistake, and then they're going to pounce. I'm just saying, it'll be showgirls all over again. So no matter how old you look, Davina, you're one of my faves. I'm just saying. Even with that laugh. This straw is disappointing me. Fourth through the workroom doors was Crystal, who came out as a Canadian, God bless her. Although for somebody who's been in another country for 10 years, I'm surprised she doesn't have an accent, I'm just saying. She's certainly not capable of doing one, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Can I just say this, that those little dots under her eyes are gonna give me hives. And here's why. I had a drama teacher back in the day that wore her eyeliner, one dot under one eye, one dot under the other eye. And she said it represented something. And I told her, yes, the hives she was giving me with her pretentious eyeliner. Just saying. Now, God bless Crystal. I'm not going to define her by her bad makeup choices, but I do have to say, I loved her coming through the runway. I loved her body dysmorphia dig. And again, because she's British, she's from British, this PC element that we have in North America, which I think is killing comedy on some levels, just saying. They don't have that sensibility in Britain. So I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of stuff this season that's going to rile some people. And all I have to say is, have a cup of tea. Just have a cup of tea, it'll make it all better, and we'll move on to something else. But that said, I love that Crystal doesn't shave her armpits. I love that she had one big boob on her outfit. And I don't know, I just think somebody like that is going to do very well in this competition. Seriously. Fifth through the workroom doors was Sum Ting Wong, or as I'm going to call her for the rest of the season, STW. I have to tell you, I like her. I like her energy. She seems like one of those girls that's always going to be, yeah, for the party, let's go. Everyone has a good idea. She supports everyone. She's going to be everyone's best friend, which is going to get annoying at some point. But for now, she's adorable. The thing that I was most impressed with was the fact that she came in wearing the same fabric and petals that Blue Hydrangea did, but in a totally different way. She wore it slutty, which is my favorite way to wear most things, I'm just saying. Now, even STW will say she does glam on a budget, but this is the thing with STW for me. It doesn't matter if you're on a budget. It's about how good the product looks when you're done. And I just feel like STW's taste is in her mouth. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying, it's a little low end, it's a little common, and I'm not, again, it's a great look, and I love her for it. She's doing it very, very well. But I feel like she's going to get read on the show and in general from people for it. And one of the reasons I say this is because of her makeup. Now, I don't know why she has to have so much white right in there, but it is off-putting. Especially when she came in that hairline, you know, and you could see it. Now, in defense of most of these girls, a lot of them don't ever work in front of good lighting. It's always shitty lighting in a crappy bar, no offense. But to go on TV and have full wattage hit you in the lace front, well, that's where your blending skills really come into play, I'm just saying. So I hope that over the course of the show that Sum Ting gets a handle on that, because I don't think that she should be penalized for a lack of polish, because what she's doing is polished for me. I hope that makes sense. Here's to you, STW. Sixth through the door was the Queen of Essex herself, Cheryl Hole. Now, I just have to say, good grief is she pulled together. She's the first queen to walk through that workroom door who looks like a showgirl to me, who looks like she's ready to put on a show. I'm not saying Bag of Chips didn't look great, because that sparkly leopard two-piece was lovely, but, you know, the bus driver wig on her head was a more pedestrian than showy, is all I'm saying. That said, Cheryl and her fringy minge goodness, wow, she looked fantastic. The one thing that bothered me, though, is her Alyssa Edwards tongue popping. That whole thing. The only reason it doesn't seem put on by Alyssa Edwards is because Alyssa Edwards isn't smart enough to be that calculating. I'm just saying. But I hope that this is something that Cheryl's putting on and that she's not like this all the time, because good grief, it's exhausting. I'm just saying. I love how Cheryl said she wanted to represent the Essex queens, who often are depicted as just sloppy and falling out of cabs. And then they cut to STW right there. I mean, that's a foreshadowing moment, if you ask me. At some point, somebody's going to tell somebody that they hate somebody's drag, and ST Wong's going to slap her face. Just serious. Next, we met the one and only Gothy Kendall. Gothy Kendall. What is that? What is that? I don't understand why she did that. I don't understand why she does a lot of stuff, but I have to tell you, this queen is stunning. She reminds me, in that wig painted, of Debbie Mazar, who used to do Madonna's makeup, and then she went on to become an actress in her own right, and she's on some show now where she's fabulous. But back in the day, Debbie Mazar looked like a 1960s brunette Barbie doll, and that's what Gothy Kendall looked like. She's gorgeous, gorgeous girl. I loved her purple jumpsuit. I loved the sparkliness. Her makeup was flawless. God bless her. But she's young, and she seems to have absolutely no personality whatsoever. God bless. I'm going to put it down to a combination of youth and nerves, and hopefully she'll come out of that shell soon enough. I mean, I'm saying this like I don't know what's happening, and we know what happened. Choices. And then the mood in the workroom changed, because 8 through the door was Ms. Vinegar Strokes. And I just have to say, I love her. She is fabulous. I love the outfit. I love the hair. The way she painted her face and the smiling she was doing, she could do a great impersonation of Tiffany Haddish, if you ask me. Or at least maybe Tiffany Haddish's mom, I'm just saying. Of course, we learned quickly that Vinegar is a seasoned performer, so I'm expecting huge things from her this season. And with the way she was greeted by the girls coming through, apparently quite a few of them know her, and it looks like more than a couple are worried. So here's to you, Vinegar. Stroke away, baby. 9th through the door was the one and only Scaredy Cat. And I just have to say, right away, I'm intrigued by this queen. There's something about her right away that makes me see why she's there. She is the youngest queen that's ever been on RuPaul's Drag Race at 19. She's not gay, or at least not fully. And she's not performed. What you talking about, Scaredy? Seriously, there's a lot of things about this queen that I'm loving. One of the things is just how in character she seemed to be. Because the minute when they cut to the interview, the confessional part, with her out of drag, she's clearly a different person out of drag. A little more docile, a little more low-key. But I was really impressed with a lot of her energy. So I'm just saying, as somebody who's new to the milieu and new to the world, I'm a little impressed by her already. So I'm excited to see where she goes. Here's to you, Scaredy. Don't be scared. And last through the workroom door, certainly not least, in a flurry of red tinfoil, was the Vivian. Now, clearly everyone knows Viv. That's what I call her. Why she doesn't call me back. That said, everyone seems to know the Viv. She won the ambassadorship of RuPaul's Drag Race to the UK, which means nothing. But it is something that she did win. She won it in conjunction with the RuPaul franchise. I mean, she was flown to America. She did a few things with World of Wonder. She was featured on Drag Race. So, I mean, she's clearly in their scopes, as with the rest of these contestants. So I'm sure that they're all thinking, well, she won the ambassadorship. What's to say she won't win this whole shebang? And they're right to worry. Because Viv is the other queen that walked through that workroom for me, who looked polished and ready to compete. Her and Cheryl, which is why I think that the two of them aren't going to get along at all. Just saying. But there was no time to size up the competition, because there was RuPaul in a fantastically psychedelic suit to give the girls this week's mini challenge, which in the history of RuPaul's Drag Race has always been a photo challenge, but this time it was a photo postcard, a digital postcard. So part of it was animated, part of it was the photo. Now, the first queen that went up was Bag of Chips. And I just have to say, as I will probably say every time I bring her up, I love her. She's a hoot and a holler. She posed with her head between her legs saying, "Shut your gob, there's a draft." Now, right away, Ru asked, does everyone know what a gob is? And I think most people do. Shut your gob. Her gob was wide open. It's your mouth. And if you're a gobshite, it just means your mouth's full of shit. It means you talk shit. You're just full of shit. Personally, I was more intrigued by her whole tuppence references. Feed the bird! Because, as you know, that's a song from Mary Poppins. Tuppence a bag, tuppence. Blue Hydrangea was next, and I have to say, I loved her pose, but I loved her Cher impression more. Clearly. DDC's digital postcard was okay, but I wasn't impressed by her line about eating too much carbonara, because she's a skinny queen, and I hate it when skinny queens complain about their weight. I almost called her a skinny queen. No, that's right, skinny queen. What was I doing? Crystal blew herself, enough said, and Cheryl Hole just was cute. All she was cute. Next up was poor Gothy Kendall. And can I just say, I think that this whole exchange between her and Ru should be the new definition of awkward. It certainly knocks that whole Pearl and Ru, is there something on my face thing, right out of first place, if you ask me. I'm so serious. Basically what happened was Gothy said something about her head being the best, and then Ru asked her if she could say it more enthusiastically, which is American for, could you sound less dead? Because she basically just talked like this. I have the best head. And then she said, oh, yes, I can do that. And her idea of more enthusiastically was to lick her lips first and say it the exact same way. She went, my head. And then Ru laughed at her like a big old donkey and was not subtle about it at all. And then she made her do it again. She made Gothy give one more read, and it was the exact same as the other two. And Ru laughed even harder. God bless. I mean, the only thing that was better than Ru laughing at Gothy was the fact that Gothy seemed to be completely oblivious to the whole thing, and her 21-year-old ego didn't get shattered. Just saying. Of course, the saddest thing about this whole exchange is Gothy's age. Bless her. She's so young. She's going to have much longer to live with this. I'm telling you what. Next up was Vinegar Strokes. And the best thing about her photo shoot was that she explained what her name means. And can I just say, barf. Now I can't call her Vinegar. I'm just going to call her Vinny. Vinny was next up. She was all right. She's cute. She's all right. Lots of personality. I like her. Just saying. I like Scaredy Cat too. She was simple and to the point, kept it just down to the simplicity of poo. Everybody poos. STW overcomplicated her digital postcard, if you ask me, by talking. Because just whipping a boob out off the gate, she was doing well. But then she said that whole thing about it not being possible or could be achievable to gratify your... I didn't get it. Neither did Ru. Neither did anybody. But God bless her. She had something in mind and she stuck to it, despite the outcome. Here's to you, STW. The final girl to lose her head was Viv, and she did well. I like the fact that Ru made her do a lot of impersonations, because it was very funny. But I have to tell you, I love her Kim Woodburn. I know who Kim Woodburn is, but her impersonation of her is hilarious. All I have to say is I hope she doesn't do it for the Snatch Game, though, because she's clearly wearing it a little thin, if you ask me. I'm just saying. And when the camera stopped clicking, it was announced that Scaredy Cat won the digital postcard challenge. And all I have to say is she came off a little cocky, if you ask me, saying, well, clearly it's no trouble to be on this program and do well. Just takes talent. Well, I just think that she better watch her back, especially around DDC. I'm just saying. Seriously. And that's when Ru told them about the main challenge, the Runway challenge. They had to serve some Queen Elizabeth II realness, or at least a look that was inspired by Queen Elizabeth. And the girls all seemed to take that in stride. Okay, fine, we're British, we can do that, no problem. And then Ru said, well, it's not going to be that easy. You also have to give me a look as to why you're the queen of your hometown too. Oh, well, then the girls tucked in and started to get to work. Baga unpacked her prison luggage. Crystal talked about body hair and why she doesn't like to shave. Vinny and Blue talked about fake boobs, and everyone agreed that Baga looks the same out of drag as she does in. Personally, I think it's the turban. And then it happened, as it often does around Brits. The talk turned to teeth. DDC admitted that she'd had her teeth done a few years ago and was thrilled that she had. Viv talked about the fact that she wears a flipper, that fake front, herself, which means she's probably either not doing as well as I thought or just afraid of surgery, or she doesn't care that much about what she looks like. Because her teeth didn't look horrible, but they certainly look better in drag, I'm just saying. And then the camera found poor gothy Kendall all alone in a corner. Bless her. She's not happy with her teeth, and nor should she be. Those are some pretty serious British teeth, if you ask me. But the thing is, most people don't expect good teeth from Brits anyway, no offense to anyone British. But it's a running gag. There's even a sketch troupe called British Teeth. Hilarious. But that said, I feel badly for Gothy because she's, it's hard when you don't feel you can smile and feel confident about yourself. But she's so young. She's 21. Seriously, at the end of this season of RuPaul's Drag Race, if she doesn't have new teeth in her face, then she just doesn't want it bad enough. I'm just saying. And then it was Elimination Day. As the girls were getting ready, I was so touched to see Vinny and Scaredy getting along. Of course, Scaredy was saying that Vinny was giving her mommy vibes, which sounds dirty, but still, clearly it was calming Scaredy down, just that snitch your snitch, and maybe was distracting Vinny just enough to keep herself calm too, I'm just saying. Across the room, Viv was giving herself the Mrs. Doubtfire treatment, while Baga told everyone how much she loves the Royals. Maybe a little too much, if you ask me. Crystal, of course, doesn't like them at all, but then she's Canadian. And then it was off to the runway. And for a second there, I thought that DDC was getting her wish and they were using that season 1 filter. But no, it was just the hot lights on Ru's neon dress. And I have to say, right away, oh my God, Ru looked great. I love it when she wears short skirts. I love it when she wears a more structured hairdo. I love it. I love it. She doesn't do it enough, and I was really pleased to see her do it here. I was also pleased to see Michelle Visage looking fabulous. Of course, you know that she is competing on Strictly Come Dancing, and if you're interested, I'm reviewing her performance only, and in a series called Strictly Michelle Visage. So if you want, you can tune into that. But that said, she looks fabulous. Of course, Alan Carr, one of the funniest men on British television. So funny, so talented. I was so excited to see him. And of course, Andrew Garfield, who makes me think I'm in gay heaven every time I look at him. Just saying. Seriously. And then the queens hit the runway. First up was Crystal. I have to say, I love this first look. And something that maybe a lot of North Americans may not have got. She was wearing a wig made out of pearls because she was wearing a pearly jacket. And the pearly jacket refers to the Pearlies in Britain. And it's a group of people who decorate their clothing with pearl buttons, mother of pearl buttons. And over at least a century, at least in Britain, they've been fundraisers, charitable contributors, that kind of organization. They're very, very charity and philanthropically originated. And you may have a better sense of the Pearlies because they were also, this is a second Mary Poppins reference for RuPaul's Drag Race. They were in the movie Mary Poppins when they were in the drawing of the countryside with the carousel horse and the race and everything. That's them there. So that's why she had her jacket at the back said a drag pearly, and then the pearl wig. The one thing I hated about her dress, though, was that 3-day bender card on the front of her. It made her whole outfit look like one of those dolls that goes over a toilet roll, or a quinceañera hat or something. I don't know. I felt it was unnecessary and it cheapened the whole look. And I wish that she had felt stronger about what she had done without it. That's just all I have to say. Apparently the judges didn't care. They said nothing about it. Crystal's queen look, on the other hand, was spectacular, breathtaking. I couldn't believe how close to the original she got. I thought she did an excellent job with this look. And I have to say, it was one of my favorite queen looks. So here's to you, Crystal. Good job on the runway first try, just saying. Cheryl Hole was next down that runway, and she stomped it out in her Essex girl realness, spray tan cloud of beige and hair and toilet paper shoe and all of that. It was hilarious, which is why her queen look, even though she was pretty in pink, was a letdown. And the biggest letdown was her not having a purse. Why would she even... She's British. She should know better than anyone. Just saying. Seriously, Cheryl. The third girl down the runway was STW, and I just have to say, I loved her looks. Both of them. They were brilliant. Her Birmingham Bull, brilliant. She looked gorgeous. That dress was beautiful. The nose ring on her face was the right size. The horns were spectacular. And then her queen, the stamp, moving in profile only, hilarious. On the back of the stamp, lick me, brilliant. I am just saying right here and now that STW was robbed. She should have won that first catwalk. I am going to say it until the cows come home, because I thought she had the best look, and I thought the judges all liked her the best too. I'm just saying. Blue Hydrangea looked fabulous in her hometown look. It's just that her hometown look wasn't that interesting, no offense. I mean, they were cranes, I get it. The Belfast cranes, I get it. But she had the same sheath dress on that she had when she entered the room, but this time in yellow and black. And again, because she had the corset on underneath, it just made her look shapeless. And I know that, like, if you're going to be shapeless, then why wear the corset? You know what I'm saying? Why put yourself through that if you don't need to? So I wasn't impressed with Blue Hydrangea's look, bless her. Baga was next, and her hometown look for London was Shamie Housewine, aka Amy Winehouse. And you know, there was nothing wrong with this look for me, and I do understand when the judges debated it that there may have been a PC backlash for Baga portraying Amy Winehouse at her worst. But I just have to say, I wasn't bothered by it. It just came off dated. That was the only thing. I would have expected, I don't know. I wasn't disappointed, but it wasn't my favorite look. I did like her queen look, though, in that beautiful jacket made of pink and black roses. And I thought, even though Michelle thought she looked older, I thought she looked great. I thought she looked great as a queen. The queen's always looked that age. Since she was 16, she's looked that old. So I thought Baga did very well on the runway. Good for you, Baga. Seriously. Viv's hometown look from Liverpool was to look like Pete Burns. And I thought she looked great as Pete Burns. I didn't care that she was wearing flats. That's what Pete Burns looked like, and good for her. But her second look coming down the runway as the queen in Balmoral, shooting ducks, this was another great look too. She looked fantastic. But I wasn't as impressed with this look as everyone else seemed to be. And I think the reason everyone else was impressed with this look was because Michelle embarrassed herself by accusing her of having a fake nose on her face. And I think that she was so embarrassed that they felt, well, we've already said this woman looks like she's got a fake nose on her face. Maybe we should damage control. And they let her win the challenge. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's how it went, but I still think that STW was robbed. Seriously. Vinegar Strokes was next down the catwalk, and I was so disappointed in her first look because, yeah, it looked like she just stuck a blue strip on her to represent the Thames and clapped a little circle on it to represent the London Eye on an outfit that she already had. Probably an outfit that she likes and thinks she looks good in. So she thought, well, why don't I take the opportunity to make this the best of both worlds? I'll wear something I like and make it fit the challenge. Well, I don't think that was fitting the challenge at all. And I'm sorry that she seemed to do so little for this challenge. I would have rather have seen her in like a hand-painted suit that looked like a street map and had the Thames River on a peplum, but on a peplum in the shape that it was, you know what I mean? Or even just go and just a blue strip to represent the Thames and leave it at that. Either way, it just was very pedestrian and very unimpressive to me. I was impressed, though, with Vinegar's queen look, because that yellow with the turban and everything was lovely. It looked great on her. I thought she looked fabulous. But again, it's still, as Michelle said, it needed some ironing. And it's just a level of presentation that I feel Vinegar's not attaining yet. It could still be first show nerves. Fingerdoo's cross that it is, I'm just saying. Next down the runway was Gothy Kendall, and oy vey Zamia, I hated this. I hated both her looks. The first thing was the Leicester lion or tiger or bear, oh my, I don't know. I never heard of it, I don't care. I thought she looked good. That suit was nice, her hair was right, the makeup was okay, but her presentation, I'm so glad that Alan Carr made fun of it. Saying that she looked like a real estate agent who went and got her face painted at the zoo and came back into the office. Rawr. It was sad, but this is a very big reflection on somebody who's young and doesn't have the experience of performing. Keep in mind, Gothy doesn't perform as a drag queen. She hosts parties and she DJs. So it's a different drag work that she does. But still, you'd think that she'd have a little more sense. I mean, this is what I love about Scaredy Cat, is her sense of character. She stays, when she's in drag, she stays in character. But then maybe that's because Gothy's coming from more of a cosplay world than from a drag world. I don't know. I'm just saying. All I do know is I hated Gothy's queen look even more. First of all, she didn't look naked from the waist up. And from the waist down, that wasn't a skirt. That was a crinoline. That's meant to go under a skirt. I love that she thought that that was an outfit. Bless her heart. But she was flawlessly painted. That was a cute face on her. Gothy didn't have a purse either. Just saying. Speaking of Scaredy Cat, she was next. She's from Wiltshire, and apparently they're all hippies or some such thing. But she looked great. And I love that outfit. And I loved, again, her energy. When she walked down the runway, that was Scaredy Cat. Even if you didn't see her head and you just saw the body language, you'd know who that was. And that's something I think Gothy was missing this episode, poor thing. That said, I also loved that Scaredy did the Queen as a baby. Bless her. I mean, she's one note, but it's not a note I'm sick of hearing so far, I'm just saying. Last but not least down that catwalk was DDC. And first off, can I say, I loved her first look. So campy. I love foam wigs. I love all of it. The colors. Apparently, DDC's from West Yorkshire and the home of the tit trumpets. I had no idea that's where they came from. I'd seen one or two before, but it was one of those things. I wasn't sure. Did I see tit trumpets? I wasn't sure. Well, now we've all seen the tit trumpets. And Alan Carr, apparently, is an aficionado. Tongue's that mouthpiece. But as much as I loved her hometown look, that Queen of Order of the Garter look was stunning. It was so beautiful. And the fact that she whipped out her own garter, it clinched the deal for me. I thought that was an excellent look. And certainly reason enough for DDC not to worry too much about leaving anytime soon on Drag Race UK. I'm so serious. So once the girls were finished stomping it out on the runway, it was announced that the safe queens for week 1 were Crystal, Blue, Scaredy Cat, and DDC. And can I just say, I'm so glad that they did a little untucked on this episode, going backstage with the girls. Because I love to hear what these girls think after they've been read for filth. I'm just saying. For those girls left on the catwalk, it became very clear that the judges loved STW, Baga, and Viv. Once they joined the rest of the girls in the back room, it was clear Cheryl wasn't having it. Vinny, bless her, started crying because, as you can imagine, you know, you work at something your whole life only to have somebody tell you you're not that good at it. It's going to get you a little emotional. I'm so serious. So when the girls returned to the catwalk, I was totally shocked, though, that STW didn't win. I thought that her 2 looks were way better than everyone else's. Who did win? Well, of course, that only leaves Viv. Viv won, and I'm not thinking she doesn't deserve to win. But I was just surprised. I thought that SCW had done a more interesting job on the runway. That said, what did Vivian win? A Rue Peter badge. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, Blue Peter is a TV show in Britain. It's been on since they invented television. It's a kids show, and people that are on the show get a Blue Peter badge, a little pin. And so that's what they're doing. Now, I just have to say, the other thing that the queens are winning for this is they're getting flown to America to do a digital series with World of Wonder on World of Wonder's YouTube channel. Is that it? Pins and a flight to America? There's no money involved? Seriously. These queens are jumping through some pretty small hoops for a whole hell of a nothing, if you ask me. I'm just saying. There's no money at all? Not even a fish and chips dinner after? Seriously. I'm just saying. But that said, the girls that ended up in the bottom, sadly, of course, Gothy Kendall and Vinegar Strokes, bless her. I was so sorry to see her in there. Now, regardless of that, this is where experience as a performer and the newness of living clash. Here's Vinegar, who's been performing for quite some time, probably as long as Gothy's been on the planet, and then there's Gothy. Poor Gothy, that was sad. I just like to say this, for somebody who does drag on any level, she should get used to walking in heels more. She didn't look very comfortable in those heels. Her performance was a little lackluster. She certainly seemed shyer about what she was doing than Vinegar was. So it was no surprise to me that Vinny shantaed and Gothy sashayed away. Well, there you have it, our first episode of RuPaul's Drag Race UK. What do you think? I thought it was a little boring, but I'm just hoping that that's setting us up for great things to come. Next week's challenge is an acting challenge, so this may separate some of the wheat from some of the chaff, is all I'm saying. So what did you think? Who's your favorite so far? Is your favorite of who could possibly win RuPaul's Drag Race UK changed after watching one episode? Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like my video if you did. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. And if you want to support me, you can give me a one-time tip through my PayPal account. You can support me on Patreon, where I do my weekly watcha, where I answer your questions. It only happens on Patreon, so you can go over to my Patreon account and find out more. The link's down below. And until next week, miss me! Mwah.